Enel's Great Space Operations is the ninth cover story created as a side story on the title pages of each One Piece chapter. The story is set after the events of the Skypia arc. The story begins with Enel riding his arc, Maxim, to the moon, which he believes to be the fairy Verth of legend. After landing, he takes in the sights and explores his new home. He then sees something possibly alive within a crater and investigates, finding an unconscious creature wearing a soldier's uniform laying on the ground. Without a second thought, Enel cruelly attacks the poor thing with a lightning strike. However, the creature turns out to be a mechanical life form, and instead of harming it, the electricity recharges it back to full health, much to Enel's disappointment. The robot shows its gratitude with a salute, identifying itself as First Lieutenant Spacey. Spacey then expresses his regret for abandoning his position when fighting the enemy and goes back to the area where the battle took place, with Enel choosing to follow out of curiosity. Upon reaching the destination, they find Spacey's comrades, Colonel Macro, General Galaxy and Sergeant Cosmo lying unconscious on the ground as well. Spacey begins to weep for his fallen friends while Enel watches on impassively. As the lieutenant continues to mourn, an unknown figure approaches them from behind. Before I continue, make sure to like the video and subscribe the channel as it keeps me motivated to make more One Piece related content. Let's continue. The figure reveals himself as Seamars, captain of the space pirates, who pierces Spacey in the back with his electric spear, severely injuring the robot. Enel only watches without a hint of empathy until Seamars jabs his spear into him next. Being a Logia and a mantra or observation haki user, Enel is completely unharmed as the spear passes through him. Enel then retaliates with a swift electrified kick to Seamars' face, knocking him out. However, Enel then witnesses a massive explosion on the horizon and becomes enraged at the sight of his precious Verth being damaged. It turns out that the explosion was caused by the rest of the space pirates, who are excavating the moon in order to locate and plunder its long-lost ruins. But then they see a glowing individual atop their spacecraft and prepare to fight. In the meantime, the shocked, but still alive Lieutenant Spacey reminisces about why he and his comrades came to the moon in the first place. They were created by Professor Tsukimi, a kind, old scientist living on Karakuri Island, and treated as family. But then one day, while they were watching the moon and eating snacks, a huge explosion happened on it. The professor, shocked by the unexpected event, swallowed his dumpling without chewing, resulting in him suffocating to death. After giving the professor a proper funeral and a tearful goodbye, the four automata traveled to the moon using balloons to take revenge on the ones responsible to the explosion that resulted in the accidental death of their beloved professor. Upon reaching the moon, they find the space pirates, and despite overwhelming odds, they do battle with them. In the end, however, all four of them were easily defeated. In present time, Spacey continues to cry in regret of his loss, but then bears witness as Enel destroys the excavation site and defeats the space pirates with incredible ease. Spacey approaches him while carrying his comrades on a cart and expresses his gratitude for avenging their creator. Unmoved and annoyed, Enel zaps them all again. He then sees a cave within the crater that the space pirates were digging and decides to enter. He then discovers an ancient hidden city beneath the moon's crust. In childish spite, Enel then attacks the city with his powers, but the electricity instead recharges it as well as with several ancient automata standing powerless within it. Spacey and his brothers arrive shortly after and, along with the ancient automata, thank Enel for awakening them. Enel then looks at the wall paintings and discovers its history. It turns out that the Skypians, Shandians and Lunarians are Burkians, the latter being his ancestors, all originated from the Moon City and invented the automata. After using up their resources, the inhabitants decided to travel to Earth while giving a tearful goodbye to their creations. The automata then pledged their loyalty to Enel for reawakening them. Though Enel was still annoyed by this, he gave thought to the fact that he was surrounded by endless followers along with the fairy Verth that he'd long sought. Thus, he accepts their loyalty and stands tall as the leader of his new army. The end. So guys, that was it. If you enjoyed the video, then make sure to subscribe the channel and like the video for more dope One Piece related content. Thank you for watching.